Hey there, folks. Welcome to another edition of Time About the Movies. It's the weekend of October 20th, 1989. We've got 4 movies to look at today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump right on into it. And we're going to start off with the highest grossing of the newest releases, which, considering this made only $4 million on its opening weekend, isn't really saying all that much. Patrick Swayze starring in Next of Kin. You know, this movie's got a pretty decent cast to it. Besides Swayze, you've got Adam Baldwin, you've got Helen Hunt, you've got Bill Paxton, Ben Stiller, Liam Neeson is in this movie. Pretty decent cast, and you know what? Wasn't a bad movie, honestly. I think it got mostly overlooked by the other Patrick Swayze movie that came out in '89, which was Roadhouse, but, you know, it's not a bad movie. I've seen far worse, and it is kind of generic, but it does work. It works because of the performances. It works because of the mystery. It works because of the thriller aspects of it. I think it's a well-made movie. It's a little formulaic at times, but not to the point where I didn't hate it. Where I didn't like it, I mean. I didn't hate anything about this movie, honestly. There was nothing really bad about it, but there wasn't really anything that was really great about it. It was just an overall enjoyable movie. I think that's what they were trying to go for here. Could it have been a little bit better? Probably, but there was, like I said, there was nothing in here that really made me all that upset or really excited me. It was just like, that was a pretty decent film, and that's the best I could say about this movie. It's a pretty decent film, so. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Next of Kin. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, which is Gross Anatomy. And here's an example of a movie with a formulaic premise that pretty much is what you'd expect it to be. I mean, that trailer just pretty much tells you everything you need to know about this movie. It's going to be one of those coming-of-age stories where you can predict what's going to happen to these people. They're going to have to go through these difficult challenges and all this kind of stuff. And in the end, it's all going to work out in the end, even though there are points where it doesn't look like it's going to work out, but it eventually does in the end. I mean, it's pretty much what you think it's going to be. I mean, despite the fact that this has a pretty decent cast to it, Matthew Modine, Daphne Zuniga, Christine Lottie, it's pretty much what you expect it to be. It's kind of like trying to be another Dead Poet Society, but even Dead Poet Society was able to work because of Robin Williams' performance in that movie and the fact that he was able to put a new spin on that performance. But yeah, this one's just, like I said, it's pretty much what you'd expect it to be for a movie of this caliber. It's going to be one of those movies where you have all these new people that don't really know what they're doing, but they slowly but surely throughout the course of the film, they get it together. Then something happens in the third act. You gotta have the third act breakup, or the big misunderstanding, and then it all comes together well in the end. That's pretty much the best way to describe this movie. Very forgettable, and that's pretty much all I've got for it. Gross Anatomy. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, which is Paul Newman in Fat Man and Little Boy. Another movie with a pretty decent cast to it. You got Paul Newman, but you also have Dwight Schultz, you've got Bonnie Bedelia, you've got John Cusack, Laura Dern, John C. McGinley. So a really good cast in this movie for a movie that, once again, sadly, just really doesn't work. The movie basically follows the Manhattan Project, the secret Allied endeavor to develop the first nuclear weapons during World War II, and Fat Man and Little Boy are the 2 bombs that were named on the Japanese city of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This, of course, takes place about 9 months after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And, yeah, that's right. I just want to make sure I got my history right there. But yeah, it's another one of those movies that has a good cast to it, a really good cast. But they're really not given a whole lot to do to make this really stand out on its own. It's another one of those movies that it kind of feels like it's a run-of-the-mill story. There's not really anything too groundbreaking or too exciting to make it stand out on its own. But, I mean, I feel like there's really could have been a lot here that could have made this work. But it just really didn't. Like, Paul Newman is a great actor, and Dwight Schultz has been a really good actor, too. I just don't think they were really is conditioned for this role to make it work. I think you needed better actors to make these 2 performances really stand out, because they're not really doing their best in this movie. It's just kind of like, here you go, here's these 2 noble people that you've seen before, and even they can't really make this work. I mean, And the story is very interesting. There's an interesting story here, but it kind of takes too much of the safe way out. It's trying its best to try to be marketable, but also be an Oscar contender, but it's not succeeding on either one of those aspects, honestly. It's just not much more I could say about this one. It's just kind of, it's alright. It could have been a lot better, though. I feel like it could have been a whole lot better. It's quickly forgettable. It's another one of those movies I quickly forget about, so let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, and that is When the Whales Came. Basically, the premise of this movie is that a pair of children befriend an eccentric old man. He lives isolated on this island, on the shore near his island home, near their island home. And it turns out the old man knows a terrible secret about the island and the narwhals who sometimes come. And this takes place during World War I, which makes things much trickier for the people in the village. That's pretty much everything that you need to know about this movie. It's like, it's based off of a it's based off of a book by, look at the name here, Michael Morpurgo, who also wrote the script for this movie. And I've seen a little bit of this movie, and it's not a bad movie. It's not from the little bit I've seen, it's not really that terrible, but it's nothing really that kind of makes it stand out. You've got people like Helen Mirren and Paul Scofield involved in this movie, who are very good in the parts that they're in. I haven't seen the whole movie to really get a good grasp on it, but from what I've seen, it doesn't look too bad, so maybe I'll check it out again down the line, but it's nothing really something I need to see immediately, so just my quick thoughts there on When the Whales Came. And with that said, that's going to wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time around, we'll wrap up the month of October. We've got 7 movies to look at, including Wes Craven's Shocker, The Bear, Immediate Family with James Woods, Glenn Close, Kevin Dillon, and Mary Stuart Masterson, Worth Winning, the comedy starring Mark Harmon, Dad with Ted Danson, Jack Lemmon, and Ethan Hawke, Kill Me Again, and also Animal Behavior. So those are the 7 movies we'll look at the next time around. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, if you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another video. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and until then, take care.